Oh.
Okay, we seem to have quite a few who haven't attended, but we need to make a start, I think. Shall we kick off?
Yep, fine by me.
Okay, so yeah, this is, I'll make a brief start. This is a 2-hour session on the new code of practice that was developed with the assistance of ASAFE, or ASAFE being in the front seat, should I say. So we're going to cover topics on safety and how barriers, us as well being representatives of ASAFE in Cyprus, can be applied to eliminate risks and dangers in any facility, not just the warehouse facility, which most of the people here are based at.
Okay.
So I will hand over to you two to make a brief intro on yourselves as well. Just give a brief intro on who you are. I think most people know who we are here. If there's any questions, I'll be monitoring the chat box. There's not many people. I think you can just come in whenever you want to ask a question. We'll put you all on mute. But if you have anything that you want to ask, I think you can safely just butt in. Are you happy with that, guys, to do it ad hoc? Questions and answers?
That's fine. That's fine by me, yeah.
All right. So I'll hand over to you, Powell.
Okay, so yeah, to introduce us, obviously, ladies first. So Justine.
So my name is Justine. I've been working for ASAFE since 2015. I've done various roles while I've been working there, and I currently work for Team International. So we look after many different clients across the world, one of them being George. And I work on the big projects. So anything above 50,000, I'll help on, and I'll get everything together and work out what product we need and help our clients abroad. I do travel as well, so I do site visits and things like that. So it's quite a varied role, but I do enjoy it.
Great. So my name is Pavel. I'm a sales manager for Central and Eastern Europe. I work for International. That's gonna be, well, a year and a half now, since beginning of 2019. Seems like forever, and it's a good time. So I wouldn't complain at all. And yeah, I'm responsible for staying in touch with our partners, like George, in here, some corporate end users, and trying to make sure everyone is happy with the products, with the right products being offered through different channels of sales. So yeah, so that's in general about myself. So okay, so should we start?
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks, George, for first of all inviting us for this webinar. We appreciate opportunity to talk to so many people. We work with you with Spima for years. You're a valued distributor of ASAFE. We did lots of projects, and we're hoping to do much more in the future. So okay, just bear me 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so let me just check if actually the control works. So just bear me 1 second. Here we go. Okay. I change the slides. Yes, I can do. So you can. Sorry.
Technology, it's great.
Yes. Okay. So our agenda is basically, as you can see, for next 2 hours, we're going to talk to you about ASAFE, about what we do, about how we do it, how we can protect, how we can actually help resolving the issues. It's going to be quite a few technical information from Justine, some case studies, some good examples. So we are hoping after this 2 hours, you'll be familiar with ASAFE, you'll be familiar with how we do it, what we do it, and then obviously you know, myself, Justine, and George, we can answer all your questions. And obviously, if there's any project, anything going on, George will help you, and we'll make sure you're getting you know, the right offer with the right product. Okay, so starting with the first subject. So it's actually, for some of you are familiar with A-Safe, some are not. So before we start, A-Safe. So we believe in the problem solved. This is actually the mantra repeated all the time by the owners. We believe in the problem solved. So all of us at A-Safe, we truly believe in this, and we believe that we want the key to success is actually resolving problems instead of just selling, you know, our products. We really want to resolve the problems, and that's what I believe we do best. So what does A-Safe do in general? People might ask. So we are, first of all, inventors. We are actually the first company who introduced the polymer barriers onto the market. It's been in 2001, and since then we're actually a leader, and that's what we are proud of. We can see lots of companies are actually following us, following what A-Safe is doing. So always a front seat, always you know, moving forward. One of the best things I like showing to people, some simple comparison of, you know, the steel solution, the typical solution, and the A-Safe barrier. Let me just play it again. Here we go. So you can see that the difference is absolutely obvious. Yeah. So we manufacture great barriers. They're flexible. You can see straight away. There's no damaged floor. Obviously, the truck, the forklifts are not going to be damaged. The barrier will stay intact, and that's the biggest difference. Hold on a second. My screen is frozen. So apologies. 1 second. Okay, it's back. So A-Safe strives to be the best and lead in product performance. So as I mentioned, we want to be always the first, always the inventor, always the first people to introduce the best solutions, and that's why we spend lots of money on new products, on testing, on implementing new ideas onto real life. So what you can see on our, you know, prospects, on our marketing, it's what we've been working on. What you can't see, it's lots of different projects which we are trying to bring new products for the future for you to make sure your facilities are safer, and mainly the people working in there are safe. So A-Safe, it's more and more. So it's more technology, more engineering, design, more safety features. The material we are using, it's a Memaplex, so it's a blend of polymers, and it's and this one creates a unique built-in memory that enables the barrier to fully recover, which we will show you on some videos later on. You'll see actually how physically it works. So there's a three-phase system. If you're seeing this one now, there's a three-phase system that activates sequentially under an impact, which let me show you in here. That's a phase 1, phase 2, and the phase 3. Okay, and what is important in here really? Okay, the result. So result is actually something all the customers are always interested in. It's actually the fact that 80% of impact force is absorbed. So basically, when you've got a steel barrier, you've got 100% of impact on the floor. That's why you've got a damaged barrier, damaged floor, damaged forklifts. In here, it's 80% is absorbed, so you've got technically only 20% of energy on your floor. Sorry, is anyone was saying something? Or sorry, because it was a weird sound coming up from the Justine.
No, that wasn't. I heard it too, but I don't. It wasn't.
Everyone muted.
Okay. No, sorry. I'm just.
I heard it as well, but it's probably some interference.
Okay. No worries. So that's the biggest thing we always present to customers. And yes, everyone is interested in different advantages, but that's the biggest one so far. And I know this from our customers. All the big customers will always say the absorption of the energy is absolutely great. So as I say, we're innovators. So once again, we are working all the time on something new. At the moment, we've got a third generation of safety barriers. As you can imagine, we're working already on new products on the fourth generation of the safety barriers. We'll be moving forward. Everyone who's using A-Safe will see, okay, this is third generation, fourth generation coming. I can only imagine, 5-10 years from now, it's going to be generation number 6, 7. So we'll always go ahead with the new ideas and moving forward with the safety, which is the most important thing. We classified ourselves as an expert. So we are in the polymer business since 1984. So it's been a while. I was 2 actually at the time. I was born in 82, so I was 2. I was a little naughty kid at the time. So we've got over 30 years of experience in polymer. And how do we classify ourselves, as experts? Obviously, being an expert, it doesn't happen overnight. You can be great at doing something, but obviously it takes time. So we're proud that, through the years, through last, 10, 15, 20 years, all the time we're thinking, okay, how to improve it, how to make it better, and how to understand all the problems at different facilities. So yeah, so that's why we're quite confident in being experts in this area. We're engineers. Obviously, this is a technical product. It needs lots of testing. It needs lots of development, research. So we've got a team in the UK. Well, we've got lots of teams in the UK. Everything is controlled by A-Safe, so everything is manufactured in one place. So we've got a full control under quality of our products. Continuous improvement is very, very important for us, and that's something we take really seriously. And thanks to this, we can move forward with the products we are presenting to you really quickly. So as they say, we are a global company. So it's a family-owned business, yeah, and we've got 16 subsidiaries over the world. So how it works? We started as a UK. Obviously, we are a British company. 2001, the first polymer barrier. So that's where we came up with an idea. 2005, we set up a brand A-Safe to actually go ahead with this idea, which the perception from the customers was great, and the feedback was absolutely great. So that's how it started. Global offices. So in 2010, we've set up our first office, which was outside of UK. Then we followed up with France in 2012. And then obviously it was more and more. What is interesting, 2017, as you can see, the small A-Safe sign. So initially, all the international customers were served by a UK office. Since 2017, A-Safe International it's the separate subsidiary. So wherever we don't have our subsidiary, our branch, our team is responsible for working with our valued partners like Spima, and with some corporate end users. We cooperate with everyone. We try to help each other and try to make sure in every country the standard of the products we're offering and the standard of the quotes is the best as it can be. So as you can see, the company is growing really fast. At the moment, we've got over 500 people globally. Obviously, majority works in UK. Our US branch is growing really fast. We are really big in Germany. And obviously, every country is important for us, and that's why we've got a group of very good distributors where we try to do our best to train, to pass all the information we want to, and make sure everyone using ASafe is happy with it. So some partners we work with, I'm quite sure you all recognize lots of these international companies, and that's the companies who trusted ASafe, put in ASafe solutions to make sure they have actually a safe environment. It's a great feeling, you know, when you can see all these names. I would say at least half of them I worked with. We did some absolute great projects. And obviously that's international global customers, but we're not only global, we are actually your local partner, and that's why we work with Spima. So in here you can see some customers from Cyprus who already did some projects with ASafe. So for me, obviously, I don't recognize all the companies. I do apologize, but companies like, you know, Keen, Lidl, Hermes Airports, that's actually I recognize. Baycard, I've heard. So I would say at least half of them I've heard about, which is absolutely great. Some great projects, and hopefully it's going to be more and more in the future. So what is ASafe about? We really like the idea that we're helping the customers and we're trying to reduce the costs, and it's reducing the cost on the long run. So typical scenario we've got when we're talking about the barriers and the project of implementing any safety, we've got initial costs and we've got ongoing costs. So what we have in here is obviously everything which is important. So maintenance, repainting, that's something which costs. That's something which needs to be done, and that's something which takes time. So obviously, when you've got a maintenance team, the maintenance team is not only responsible. Okay, you know, the safety equipment doesn't work. No, it's the automation, it's the plant itself, anything. So maintenance. Really important. Obviously, the floor damage. So that's a great example, because some of you experience, especially in the places where the barriers are being damaged, especially, you know, the steel ones. You can fix it once. It's not a problem. If someone is going to crash the barrier and you've got the fixings out, the bolts out, you can drill new ones next to it, not too close, but yes, you can do. But when it comes to the third incident, yeah, it's you know, that's where the problem starts. It's going to be very expensive to repair the floor, very expensive to replace the bolts, and that's where the cost is going really up. And obviously, if you want to fix the floor in the right way, on the long term, it's going to cost you more, because whatever barrier you put on, it's not going to protect in a way it should. So the barrier damage itself, obviously, you know, if you hit the steel barrier once, twice, 3 times, I'm talking about you know, significant hit, then obviously you need to replace it. So that costs money. So through the years, you might be buying the same barrier 3 times instead of just once. Vehicle damage, we all know the forklifts in a typical plant environment, typical logistic environment. you can see scratches around everywhere on the forklift. That's how it works. On the normal protection. With A-Safe, it's slightly different because it's a polymer. It's not a steel, so you won't have scratches on your forklift. There's something I spoke with one of our partners currently, and he mentioned about the lease of the forklift. So he mentioned, I'm not sure how it works in Cyprus, but he mentioned that when you lease the forklift for, let's say, 2 years and you return it, they actually take a look on the damages. Some of the damages are okay for them, and they take it as a normal use, but then there's a big chance they will charge you much more when you return the forklift, when the damage is much bigger than they expected. So again, additional cost. Productivity downtime, that's obviously the biggest enemy everywhere. So once the production is down, you can be losing you can be losing, you know, €1,000 per hour. You can be losing €50,000 per hour. It depends on the production facility. If it's logistics, if you stop moving goods, again, same problem. Increased labor, you know, when you do, obviously you want to do something first time right. If you keep, you know, changing your barrier, you know, 10 times a year just because it's not a good fit, then obviously that cost a lot. Damaging your stock, your equipment, again, you know, you've got money you are spending. Again, accidents and injuries, that's a really hot topic, you know, everywhere, because what can happen is, you know, when someone is off, you've got a service reduction, there's no one to cover, and anything like this cost a lot. Obviously, going through the lawyers depends on what happened on site. In some countries like US or even in UK, it can cost you a lot. You know, when something happens on site from your insurance company, and you might end up losing, you know, hundreds of thousands of euros. In the US, it's going into millions because that's how it works. And the last thing, brand damage. That's not something everyone is thinking about, but it's very, very important. So the truth is, if you are a big company in your area and you employ, you know, 100 people, 200, 500, 1,000 people, if something happens on site, if you're a well-known company, everyone will put it in the news. It's going to be everywhere because it's a good subject to talk about and catch attention of the readers. So unfortunately, that's how it works. And the brand damage means, you know, for the customers of the products you're manufacturing, it's not great. But if you're looking for new employees, if they can see in the news, okay, something happened on site, someone, you know, well, hopefully not, but if someone died or anything like this, it's gonna create lots of issues, and that's why lots of big brands they are trying to make sure everything is protected, spot on. So that's the general overview. So we are raising standards all the time. We're trying to increase safety by offering, you know, the right products for the right area, for the right situation. So we are sponsors of PAS13. It's a code of practice implemented globally for safety barriers, and that's going to be the subject which Justine is gonna explain to you in much more detail. So yeah, so in general, that's us, that's A-Safe, that's how we work, and that's what we are trying to do the best. So now, Justine, if you can continue on the PAS13.
Perfect, thank you, Pavel. So I'm going to just give you a brief introduction to PAS13. I'm going to tell you, what it entails.
We have an echo somewhere.
Yeah,
do you want to go to mute as well?
Me.
And I'll go into mute, and there shouldn't be anyone else. I'm hearing an echo. Is anyone else hearing an echo?
No, I am as well.
Okay. Now I think it's better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go into mute.
Perfect. So as I was saying, I'm just going to give you a brief overview on what PAS13 is and what's inside PAS13 and how that can help you guys potentially. So For those of you that don't know what a PAS is, it's a publicly available specification. Now, it's where a company works alongside the BSI, which is the British Standards Institute, that's the one for the UK, and they create a standard or norm for the industry that they work within. So for ASAFE, this was traffic management within workplace environments. So this is what a PAS is. So it's written in the same format as an official standard. And it must reach full consensus between all stakeholders. So that means that everybody must agree on the content that's going to be inside it. And there's got to be no room for people being unsure on what that means. It has to be unambiguous. Everyone needs to be completely clear and concise on what the PAS is actually telling you that you should be doing. So there's no room for confusion. And also a PAS can gain worldwide recognition. For example, PAS13. That's one of the more famous PASs, so that looks into anti-terror, like street furniture, such as bollards and things. So PAS68 style bollards, and I think they do plant pots as well. So they're placed around, important places in cities like government buildings, and it's anti-terror. So anybody who wants to create a PAS68 style product has to follow the PAS itself, to make sure that it's defined as PAS68. What is PAS13? So PAS13 is a code of practice for safety barriers used in traffic management. So up until now, there's been no safety standard for barrier in traffic management. So ASAFE alongside the BSI created one. So the official title is a code of practice for safety barriers used in traffic management within workplace environments. So this PAS is available in many different languages as well. So we've got it in English, Italian, Dutch, French, Spanish and German. Now, I think they're the languages we're sticking at the moment, purely because it's very expensive to, I think it's £10,000 a copy to redo it in a different language. So we've got quite a few available there, and hopefully we won't need to develop any more. So this PAS is sponsored by ASAFE, so therefore it's co-branded, so we can have our logo on the front of it. If this turned into an official standard, it would no longer be co-branded, therefore ASAFE would no longer be on the front cover, and we wouldn't be able to have any input on what went into it. And also this PAS was developed in conjunction with a lot of blue chip companies and independent. So if you just look below there, we've got likes of DHL, Jaguar Land Rover, we've got Manchester University as well, and we've got TUV Nord on there. So TUV are an external testing company, which I'll go into a little bit later. But yeah, so all these companies that you can see listed there, they all had to come to a unanimous decision on what was in PAS13, and we managed to do that, which is great. Why is PAS13 needed? So approximately 50 people are killed each year, and there's 5,000 people injured in workplace accidents involving vehicles. Now, based on these figures, it's crazy that a standard hasn't been created previously, because this is quite high. Warehouses use a variety of vehicles, I'm sure all you guys, understand that because you work within them, but your vehicles range from hand pallet trucks, which are very lightweight, up to, 5-ton forklift trucks. And if you're not defining vehicle routes away from pedestrian routes, the chance of impact is significantly higher. We're not talking small injuries. These vehicles can cause, they can cause death. So to be PAS13 compliant within your warehouse significantly reduces the chance of somebody being injured or killed. So to be compliant with PAS13, you have to cover 3 areas. So I'm going to go into these 3 areas in detail, but we have to be product compliant. This means that safety barriers need to comply with the standard detailed within PAS13. We have to be application compliant. So this means that we need to ensure the correct safety barrier is using the correct application. And then we need to be environment compliant. So we need to ensure that it's positioned in the correct place as well. So product compliance. So this is the, well, it needs to be manufactured to a quality control system. So there's details within PAS13 on how you should manufacture your product, and then it needs to be tested to a performance rating. Now, the end of PAS13, it goes into how you should test your product, and this section is very, very detailed. It's it tells you what equipment you should be using, you know, and there's something in the back called a test report. And if you look at the test report, it gives you all the different areas that need to be registered when you're testing the product. Things like the temperature of the day, what humidity it was, things like that. So there's no room for error during the testing method. So it details all things like that. So there's another video here. So we need to know that the product that we're recommending to a customer is strong enough. So this is why we go through this testing. So we need to be 100% sure that we know that barrier, you know, the barrier's capabilities. This is why we go through this testing, and we've also got the testing data to back this up. So we know for definite that if this customer has this vehicle travelling at this speed, then this barrier is the most suitable. So this testing just helps us, you know, it proves that this barrier is suitable for that application. And PAS13 also helps us compare apples to apples. So, you know, all competition could be PAS13 compliant. You know, if a barrier is tested in line with PAS13, and ours is as well, we can compare like for like. Until all barrier systems are tested in line with PAS13, it's very difficult to compare our product to another person's, you know, another company's product. So we just need to make it helps us compare apples to apples. It gives us a standard there to work to and a norm. Okay, so application compliance. So application compliance, we need to understand the environment, the vehicles and the people on site. We need to match the safety barrier to the vehicle and the environment, and we need to understand the right safety barrier design. So matching the environment, you know, we need to look at, you know, which area in the warehouse has high traffic levels, what's the angle of impact going to be, and what vehicles are operating. So matching the safety barrier to the vehicle and environment. This just ensures we're giving, you know, we're recommending the correct barrier performance, and then understanding the right safety barrier design. We just need, you know, we need to know the difference between people protection and equipment protection, because there's two different design features there. So if we look into the environment, so understanding your environment. Now it's good to kind of get an overview of the warehouse itself, and kind of split the warehouse into areas. So PAS13 details 7 different areas. So if you could split the warehouse into these 7 categories, then it helps to kind of understand the environment a lot more. So these areas are, we've got walkway and work zones, that's pedestrian routes. Then we've got vehicle routes, we've got crossing points, we've got critical structures, and then we've got parking and loading and unloading. So those are the 7 areas that we need to really know, you know, we need to know where they are on a plan. So this helps us identify, you know, and really understand the environment. And then we also, we need to know what vehicles are being used and what the people movement is. So are the vehicles 10 tonne, are the vehicles, you know, 3 tonne, because there's a big difference in weight there. And are the current pedestrian walkways, are they going in line with desire lines, you know, where the pedestrians want to go? Because if someone can find a shortcut to get somewhere quicker, then they most probably will do. So we need to ensure that the you know, the walkways are in line with where people want to walk. So the next, we calculate the energy of vehicles. So I'm not going to go into this too. It's very, very detailed. So this is the formula we use to calculate the joule rating for each, you know, for the impact. So this is detailed in PAS13. It tells you how you should be calculating based on your vehicle's speed and weight, what the joule impact would be, and then you can match that with one of our products, because all the dual ratings are advertised on our website and within our brochures, so you can ensure that you're matching the right product to the right situation. And also we need to understand that the direction of travel changes the energy transferred. So a 90-degree impact is going to generate a lot more joules than a 10-degree impact. So I'm going to go into this a bit later and just break that bit down, but we just, you know, if you're looking and you're analysing your environment and you're looking at the vehicle routes, you can look at things like the width of the route. Is a 90-degree angle of impact possible? A lot of vehicle, routes, the width is not that big, so you'd be looking at a 22.5-degree angle of impact at maximum, which changes the barrier that we would recommend. So we need to understand as well on the environment plan, the vehicle routes and the width of these routes as well. So we also need to understand the importance of safety barrier design. So this is things like height of impact. So we need to ensure that the barrier sits at a height that's going to stop the vehicle that's potentially backing into it or driving into it forwards. We need to ensure that we've got the correct curb height. So if you have a chance of forks protruding into either a critical structure or a pedestrian walkway, we need to ensure that we put a curb barrier there, and we need to ensure that's the correct height. So it says in PAS13 the minimum height for these curbs should be 150 mil. Now we have a product that sits at 185, so we're well within that region. And also handrail heights as well. So you need to ensure that the handrail height is 110 centimeters high. So this is the minimum. It needs to be that or higher, just to ensure that nobody's going to topple over it. And you also need to ensure that all barrier has smooth edges, because if you have a sharp edge on your barrier, that potentially could cause more damage, by injuring either the people, or it could even cost you money by damaging a vehicle. So environment compliance, this looks at where, when and how to use a barrier. So where should I use a safety barrier? When should I use a safety barrier, and how should I position it? So let's look into this. So where to use a safety barrier. So this again goes back to the environment plan that we looked at. So you identify all the different zones. So you've got you identify pedestrian routes and safe zones for drivers. You identify all the crossing points, identify the vehicle routes, critical structures and equipment, and we also need to identify vehicle parking and loading and unloading as well. Once we've identified these areas, these are the areas that safety barrier potentially needs to be used. And it needs to be used when there are motorised vehicles in operation, there are no raised curbs, and when there's no safety buffer zone. So that's like a 1 metre zone. So potentially a painted walkway would be enough if you had hand pallet trucks only. Or if you had raised curbs and the vehicle route was 1 metre away. Sometimes a painted walkway is enough, given looking at the environment. However, if any of the, if you do have motorised vehicles, or there is no curb, or there isn't 1 metre between these routes, then this is when we advise a safety barrier should be used. Okay. And going back to the so consideration should be taken for desire line. So yeah, going back to the desire line, do the pedestrian walkways, do they correspond with where the pedestrians want to walk? We also need to take into account deflection zones. Now a safe barrier is flexible, so if it's impacted it does flex. So we need to ensure that we add the deflection zone to the walkway width, just to ensure that and we allow for that area, just so that nobody gets hurt, and we need to allow for sharp corners, risk of forks and visibility as well. So if you've got a driver sitting quite high in a cabin, there'd be no point placing a very small bollard, protecting a vital piece of machinery. If that driver can't see it, it needs to be within visibility. So we'd recommend, you know, if it's a HGV, for example, we'd recommend a 2 metre high bollard. So following PAS13, it ensures the correct type of safety barriers used with the correct specification, with proven performance, and it's in the correct place. So following PAS13 just ensures that, you know, the workplace is as safe as it can be, and there's a lesser risk of any fatalities or any injuries on site. So this is what PAS13 is there to do. And what we do at ASAFE, whenever I go onto a site visit, for example, I take PAS13 with me, and we ensure that the protection systems that we are advising is PAS13 compliant, just so it's peace of mind for the customer as well. The next section we're going to look at is just example applications and some technical information. So I'm just going to show you different ASAFE products that we have and when to use them, and give you a little bit of detail about them as well. So the first up is pedestrian segregation. So here are just a few pictures of installations that we have that we've done across the world. So for pedestrian segregation, we've got 2 options in our ranges. We've got the E-Flex Pedestrian. Now let me just explain the ranges a little bit first. So we have 4 different barrier ranges within our product offering. So we have, they've all got flex in them. So we've got M-Flex, E-Flex, I-Flex. Then we've got the airport application, which is classed as Atlas barrier. So they go up in impact ranges as well. So the M-Flex is kind of the lower, you know, if you've got hand pallet trucks, that's more suitable. And then we go to E-Flex, which is like a mid-range product. So there's lesser features in the E-Flex range. It's still a really good barrier. It is more cost effective. And then we've got I-Flex, which is the all singing, all dancing barrier with the full coupling technology, and there's more options available within the I-Flex barrier. So that's just a brief overview there, but you'll be able to see as we go along. So we've got in pedestrian segregation, we've got the E-Flex barrier. Now this barrier is for visual purposes only, ideally. It provides guidance for people on site. It doesn't provide impact protection. This is good if you've only got hand pallet trucks on site, or you know the pedestrian route is way away from a vehicle route and you just want to guide people around the plant. So that's the perfect option there. And then we've got the I-Flex pedestrian barrier. So this does have impact protection. So the maximum impact protection here is 5,800 joules, which is the equivalent of a 3.5 ton truck travelling at 6.5 kilometres an hour. Now I've based all these calculations on worst case scenario, so a 90-degree impact. So if this impact was reduced to 45 degrees, then the vehicle would be heavier and the speed would be faster to gain the maximum 5,800 joules. So they're the pedestrian barrier. That's the pedestrian segregation we have to offer. So the next is traffic segregation, so separating traffic from different areas on site. Again, these are some pictures of areas that we've installed previously. And this is more detailed. So again, well, we've got the M-Flex version here. So as I mentioned earlier, the M-Flex range is for hand pallet trucks and things like that. So you can see the joule ratings are a lot lower. Now we do it in single and double rail. So they've got varying heights of impact. So we can go from 150 mil up to 450 mil height of impact in this range. And it's suitable, the single rail up to, again, we've based it on a 3.5 ton vehicle. It's safe up to 4.5 kilometres an hour. So that's quite a slow. And then if we go up to the double rail, this height of impact is 450 and we can increase the speed by a kilometre here and it would be okay. So then we go to the E-Flex. So we've got single and double available in this range again. You can see the speeds are going up. So the maximum impact capacity for the single rail is 10,200 and the double is 13,500. So you can see the difference in speeds there. So we're able to go up to 8.5 kilometres an hour with a single rail and 10 kilometres an hour in the double rail. And then we go up to the iFlex range. So the single traffic barrier, you can see there we can go up to 10.5 kilometres an hour, and the iFlex double traffic barrier is capable at 12 kilometres an hour. And then we've got the Atlas range there. Now, the Atlas range is in capacity wise, it's the same as the iFlex double traffic barrier, but the Atlas barrier is suitable for airport solutions because we've got different base plates, and we've got larger fixings, and we have something called a spinning collar. So if a vehicle does impact the post, these collars will spin and it'll deflect the vehicle and guide it around rather than having all the impact on the post. That's more for airport solutions, but it does have the same impact capacity as the iFlex double. So the height of impact range for the eFlex goes from 350 up to 730, and then the iFlex it's 400 up to 750. So again, you've got it's more suitable for the bigger, robust vehicles, and the eFlex. What I said before is that it doesn't have as many options. So, for example, the eFlex barrier, it goes up in 500mm rail increments. So we only have 4 rail sizes available. So we go from 500, 1000, 1500 and 2000 mil. So this could be perfect if you're not putting the barrier between columns, for example, because there's not as much flexibility in the lengths. Whereas the iFlex barrier goes up in 200mm increments. So you've got a lot more flexibility there, and you can fit it in more tricky areas. So the next section is pedestrian and traffic segregation. So this is different from pedestrian barrier because we're utilising a traffic barrier, a traffic rail at the bottom part of this barrier, and we're also we've got the handrail in there as well. So this barrier is perfect for segregating vehicle routes and pedestrian routes. So it's ensuring that the pedestrians are protected from the vehicle, and they're also not going to topple over the barrier because it sits at the right height. So the mFlex range doesn't have handrail, so we only have traffic barrier available in that range, and the eFlex range only has the single traffic barrier available here. All the calculations are exactly the same as the traffic barrier. It's just the only difference is we have handrail on these versions. So in the single traffic in eFlex, we've got the handrail. We've got handrail available in both for iFlex, and we also have handrail available in the Atlas as well. So we've got Atlas Plus there. So property and asset protection. So this could be, protecting machinery or, loading bay docks or anything like that. So again, this is the same as traffic segregation. So we've got the mFlex, eFlex and iFlex. I won't go into them again, we've just done that, but we're introducing the fork guard here. So the fork guard there at the bottom, we've got this product available in eFlex and iFlex. Now this product is great. It meets the regulation for being 150mm high because this is 185, and it's dual purpose. So we can have the eFlex fork guard. We can create a barrier run, a standalone barrier run with this product if the vehicle details suit the dual capacity. And then the iFlex fork guard, we can sit this between base plates of barrier. So this can sit underneath traffic barrier, it can sit underneath the traffic and pedestrian segregation, just to provide an extra bit of protection against the forks. So if the forks of vehicles are likely to protrude under the barrier, and if they're likely to go into machinery or into walkways, then we would advise that iFlex fork guard is used here. So that's the fork guard range that we have. Then we go on to column protection. So obviously column protection, they're structurally integral to the building, so they're classed as critical structures. So we've got 3 options here. We've got the FlexiShield column guard. Now this product should be used when there's only hand pallet trucks in operation or very, very low speeds. It has a maximum impact capacity of 1,600 joules, which is 3.5 tonne at 3.5 kilometres an hour. So you can see there the speed has to be very, very low for this product to work. And this is because all of our other barrier ranges, we recommend that they're installed away from, away from the structure itself, because it deflects so much. But with the Flexi Shield, if you impact this product, then a lot of the impact is going into the structure itself. It's transferring through. So this is why we only recommend, low speed or a low weight for this barrier type. However, if you've got more robust vehicles or faster speeds, then we've got the two other options available there. So we've got the iFlex column guard. This is the same impact capacity as the pedestrian barrier, and then we've got iFlex column guard plus. So you can go up to 10.5 kilometres with this product. Again, it's the same as the iFlex single rail in capacity wise. So we're moving on to racking protection now. So we've got different versions of racking protection. So we've got two versions in the eFlex. So we've got eFlex single rack end and eFlex double rack end. So the speeds here are 5.5 kilometres an hour, and then the double is 6.5 kilometres an hour. They're quite common around the ends of racking. Vehicles don't tend to be manoeuvring around rack ends much faster than that. But if you do need a more robust solution, then we can go down to the iFlex single rack end barrier, and the speed that this can tolerate is up to 10.5 kilometres an hour. So if you do need a more robust solution, then this will be the one. All of our rack end solutions come with the spinning collars I mentioned earlier on the Atlas barrier. Just because of the way that vehicles manoeuvre around racking, they tend to do cut corners and things, so the spinning collar just helps guide the vehicle around if it does impact it. And all of our rack end barriers come with countersunk base plates, which means that I don't know the terminology used in Cyprus, but it just means that the fixings are sunk into the base plate, so there's nothing protruding up. So if a vehicle does cut the corner and impacts the post, then there's no risk of tyre shred there either. Then we've got the iFlex rack guard. So this is perfect for rack legs. This has a maximum capacity of 1,000 joules, which is 2.5 kilometres an hour. But this is attached to the rack leg itself, and is great for just protecting the rack leg against impacts when pallets are being stacked up within the racking. It's a very simple, very good product. So we move on to door protection. Again, these are critical structures, and you don't want to be damaged. Some of these doorways are extremely expensive and we don't want any damage to them. So we've got three solutions for door protection. We have the height restrictors. Now the height restrictors, they go from, I think, 2 meters up to 2 to 6 meters high, and then 2 to 6 meters wide. Now we don't really recommend 6 meter wide. The maximum we would recommend is 4.5, just because you do get, because the top rail is so heavy at that width, we do tend to get a little bit of a sag in the middle. But if you go up to 4.5, then that's the perfect product. And then we've got the bollards as well. So bollards are they're not just used in doorway protection. We sell a lot of bollards for various different applications. We do different versions in the bollards. So we have 835mm high and 1200mm high. And we have, they are 190 outer diameter, but we do have one that has like a wear collar on the outside, which spins, creating a 210 outer diameter. So if you need something a bit more robust, then you can apply the wear collar there. Then we've also got the alarm bar. Now this isn't for impact protection. It provides more of a warning to drivers. So this product, if it's impacted ever so slightly, it will raise an alarm sound and it will flash bright red. So this is just to warn the drivers that they have impacted it, and either back up or, it just lets them know that they need to change the way that they're driving, but that doesn't have impact protection as such. It just provides a warning for people. So we have some other applications available as well. So I'll briefly touch on these. As I've mentioned before, we've got the Atlas and the Atlas Plus. Now these, as I've said, are predominantly for airports. We wouldn't really recommend this product in a warehouse environment just because there's not usually much need. So again, at a 90-degree angle of impact with a 3.5 ton vehicle can go up to 12 kilometres an hour here. So it's one of our more robust solutions. And we also have the topple barrier. Now this is perfect if you're stacking pallets on site. So we have the standard topple barrier, which goes from 2.2 meters high right up to 5.2 meters high. And this goes in 1 meter increments. So it's modular technology, and we can kind of stack posts on top of each other. Now the topple barrier is being tested to hold a 1 ton load for 8 hours. So if you do have, a pallet that topples over and it's not picked up for a whole shift pattern, it should hold. It's been tested to hold 1 ton for 8 hours. And if you do need a dual purpose topple barrier, we have the heavy duty one, which has the traffic rails at the bottom. So it prevents topple from the top and prevents impact protection from the bottom against vehicles. So that's like a dual purpose one. And we've also got the cold storage range. So again, going back to analysing your environment, temperature is a massive one to take into consideration. So our standard product is suitable down to -10. If you have a freezer environment, then we'd need to go to our cold storage range. So this barrier range, it's the same impact resistance as the standard products, but this can go down to -30, and it's different colour. It's black and blue, just to differentiate between the two ranges. And the products we offer in this range is smaller, but we feel we've got everything covered within the products that we're offering. So we've got a pedestrian barrier in there. We've got the traffic barrier with handrail. We've got the traffic barrier, the fork guard, the bollards and the height restrictors. So those are the products that are available in the cold storage range. So we've got, for the iFlex barrier, we've got many different base plate options available. So these are kind of like upgrade. So all barrier comes with a standard base plate. And then we do have standard and countersunk, which the fixing is sunk into the base plate. Then we have the galvanized bases. Now, we've actually recently made a massive improvement to our standard base plate. So the standard base plate is just as good as the galvanized one, if not better. So this one will actually be taken out of our upgrade offerings because the standard just does an equally good job. But we can also upgrade to stainless steel. So if you've got if you're working food processing or food manufacturing and you wash down the barriers, then we do offer a stainless steel base plate option, and then we can combine the countersunk fixings within that option as well. So that is the more expensive option, but if it's needed, then it's there as an option for you. And also, if you need,
the barriers are food grade. You can wash them.
Yeah, sorry. So the iFlex barrier, that's hygienically sealed. So this can be used in food manufacturing plants. It's safe to wash them down, and we just recommend the correct base plate options for that. The eFlex barrier, that doesn't have the base plate options, and it's also not hygienically sealed. So if you do have a food processing plant, then we would definitely recommend the iFlex range there. Again, as I said earlier, it's the all singing, all dancing range. It has a lot to offer. So yeah, but the iFlex is perfect for food environments. And if you want to move a section as well, so if you need to have access to a machine to clean it, or you need to move the barrier sometimes for maintenance on the machine, on a machine, for example, then we do have movable options available. So we've got two options. We've got removable fixings. So these fixings should be used if the barrier is to be used, 1 or 2 times a year. And then we've got the slider base plate options. And this is suitable if you need to move the barrier 1 to 2 times a month. So if you do need access to a machine or an area, you don't want to block it off permanently, then we have these options available as well. And we highly recommend that our barriers installed into good grade concrete. We know sometimes that's not possible, and sometimes this tiled flooring for it. We had a customer once that had a problem in a seafood plant, and all the floor was washed down and it was tiled. But it was no problem for us. What we did, we supplied gaskets, so for the tiled floor, just to prevent the tiles cracking when the fixings were installed, and we just provided a stainless steel base plate there as well. But if the concrete is bad, we have chemical fixings as well. So chemical fixings are great if we can't achieve desired drill depth, which is 100 mil, or the concrete is pretty bad, and there's no chance to, we do recommend the first instance that we install concrete pads just for each base. Again, sometimes that's not possible, so we'd go to chemical fixings there. So those are available as well. And then lastly, this is just kind of good for a quick sales guide. So I've kind of separated each. I've created a 10 joule section, a 15 joule section, and a 20 joule section. So we've got 10 joule would be a 3-ton truck traveling at 9.5 kilometers an hour. A 15 joule is 4 ton at 10, and 20 joule is more 5 ton at 10. So you can kind of, based on what the customer tells you and what vehicle is in the area, you can quickly just, calculate which range would be more suitable. So I find this helps quite a lot. If someone mentions to me, the vehicle's 4 ton around 10 kilometers an hour, I know that if it's a 90 degree impact, we'd be looking at the iFlex single barrier range. So that's kind of a quick guide there, just a really quick, easy breakdown. So that's an overview of all the products. I think next up we've got identification of risk zones and solutions. So we're just going to look at a few different pictures and discuss possible solutions in these scenarios. And Pavel's going to do the first 3. So Pavel, if you want to take over.
Yeah.
But is there any also questions that I want to ask? This is a good point, I guess. To take a short pause and see if there's any questions from whoever's in the meeting room with regards to the PAS13 code of practice or anything on the products. Feel free to ask.
Any questions? Yeah, feel free. You know how to raise hands on the on the Teams, or if you don't, just unmute your speaker and ask the question. So so thanks, Justine, for overview of the products. Now we would like to show you the identification of risk zones and solutions by example. So that's going to be a real life scenario where we can see a certain situation within a company, within a plant, and to show you how we are actually offering the right solution and how we are thinking about it, about a safety and bringing it to you. So just bear me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it works. Yeah, there's a delay when I click, but it's fine. So the first one, obviously, we've got a situation where you've got a forklift, you've got someone walking through this area, and yeah, we can see obviously what is happening and what is going to happen. Okay, so the first thing you've got in your minds, I guess, in here is, okay, this forklift, yeah, it's not in the right place, or this person is actually not in the right place, which is totally correct. So segregation is really important. In here, what ASAFE would recommend, obviously, is, okay, in here the pedestrian barrier should be somewhere in place to actually guide people through the area where the forklift is not coming in. That would be one of the solutions. Obviously, the signs are very important. We can't see the full picture, but any sign saying "be careful," this is actually a junction where people walk, and you've got forklifts driving through this area, would be obviously relevant. Another thing which comes to mind is obviously the foreguard. So low-level protection in this area is crucial. Our foreguards would be a great addition to this situation. So we would actually protect the lower level, so the forks wouldn't go to the direction, as you can see. That's a very dangerous situation, and surprisingly or not, this is really common in many places. So yes, everyone takes care about safety, but still we can see many places where segregation is not right, or there's no segregation at all. So that's the first situation we've got. Another one that's a bit more complex. So there's quite a few things in here you can observe. So first thing which comes to mind is, okay, what are actually the company rules in here? Because yes, there's no protection anywhere, but is it the right thing to do the way someone is driving, the forklift with the pallet being that high? So obviously, when ASAFE is trying to offer something, it's the guidelines, it's actually the help, and it's not always the case where we're gonna say, oh, you need ASAFE in here and in here. There's lots of cases where we advise the customer, please think about the safety and how you do it, and the rules and regulations, and how you operate in your area, because that should be the first step. That's the easiest one, the quickest one, and that's what should be followed. So in here, obviously the driver should not drive with the pallet being that high. You can see the boxes might be falling off. You can probably notice that the driver will not have the full visibility of the gate. Even the gate is actually behind the boxes, so he can't even see if he's probably touching the gate or not. Obvious solutions in here, every gate, the bollards to protect the edges. The gates can be really expensive, and you guys are experts because you work at plants, you advise on plants, and you know that some of the gates, especially if it's a fireproof or anything for a food industry, can be really expensive, and some of the gates can cost up to even 20,000 euros, which is absolutely huge amount of money, and not everything is repairable. I've heard that if you hit the gate, if you do it in the wrong way, the whole thing needs to be replaced. If it's true or not, I'm not sure. Every manufacturer will be different, but that's really important. Obviously, if we have, by any chance, people walking in that area, the pedestrian segregation would be very important. Maybe even the small gates, swing gates, which can stop people actually when they open it. When they stop, when they open the gate, that's where they pay attention what's around them. So whatever is going to stop them to think, okay, where I am and what is the danger in here is really important. Height restrictors in here, yes, it would be something we would recommend, and or even alarm bar. That's one of our products which Justine presented. Great product which we are selling more and more. Very easy to install, and this product is doing its job on site. The culture of the the forklift drivers is changing, because we've got a typical scenario where if someone hits something, so you've got a forklift driver, they've hit something. If it's a barrier, wall, whatever it is, if no one has seen it, it didn't happen. That's a normal rule. But when you've got an alarm bar, and if someone is going to hit the alarm bar 102 decibels, which is quite loud, and the flashing lights, that's going to pay attention of everyone who's around. So basically, this driver will be more careful next time when he's driving through this area. We've got a few companies who bought some alarm bars, and they actually moved alarm bars from one area to the other area, because they said the culture of driving has changed massively in this area. So they decided, okay, let's move it to a different area and let's train people. Okay, don't do it. So that works. Lots of solutions we can present in here. Another one, and that's a really typical scenario in many plants. Yeah. So what we have in here, it's a blind spot. Yeah. The guy who's walking, he probably can't see fully, the approach and forklift, and it's the same from the forklift driver. And bear in mind, walking, it's a different speed. Forklift, driving could be 7, 8, 10 kilometers per hour. So the blind spot is really important. You can see in here, there's no. Sorry.
Okay,
Hello. Sorry for joining late. Theonas Andiotis from Pedestrian.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, is there any question, or should I continue? Sorry, because I couldn't hear it properly.
No, you can continue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No worries. Yeah, so this is a typical scenario, and you can see on the floor there's no even marking which area is actually for pedestrians, which area is for forklifts. So first recommendation from A-Safe is not, okay, we'll offer you some A-Safe, go and get it, buy it, do installation. No, first of all, it's a question about the culture of the driving. Okay, what can be done to improve it straight away? A quick fix, which is the marking on the floor. Yeah, that would help for a start. It wouldn't be the perfect solution, but at least something for a start. I can't see the full picture, but I can't see any signs or anything, so nothing is marked. In here, obviously, pedestrian barrier would be great. Traffic barrier or traffic plus, which is a mixture of pedestrian barrier and the traffic barrier, which is protecting from the forklift. So that would be a great solution. Obviously, we can see this guy close to the forklift. A foreguard, which is the lower protection, would be beneficial as well. And maybe a gate, small gate to actually, okay, a swing gate, someone is approaching the gate, they need to stop, open it, and that means they'll pay attention what's around. A similar scenario to, to the previous ones. What we would recommend as well, okay, think about a layout. Maybe there's something you can change. I can see next to this guy, it's actually whatever is stacked, it's metal forms, whatever it is, it's actually on sort of pallets. Maybe there's a better space in this facility to actually keep it. So as A-Safe, we're not only trying to, to recommend to you, this is the perfect product and buy it. No, we're trying to help you and to actually tell you what we think it's the right thing to do on site. So yeah, so that's the 3 examples we've got. Justine will carry on with another ones.
Yeah.
So here we go, Justine.
So the next one we've got, so this is a loading bay, a loading area next to a vehicle car park. Now, the most critical thing here is to ensure that there's no contact between the people getting out of the cars and the HGVs backing into the loading docks there. So we would, although you can see just next to where the vehicle backing up is going to end up, there's a little stairway up there which we're presuming is the entryway for the pedestrians and the officers. However, the pedestrians are going to want to just get there the quickest route, especially if the weather's not very kind, like it is in England a lot. But we need to ensure that we direct them in the right way. So we would create we recommend creating some kind of pedestrian walkway here, directing them away from this vehicle, and around the long way around to get the pedestrian stairway. Because, I mean, as good as our product is, it's not going to stop a 40-ton HGV. Unfortunately, there's not many things that are going to stop a vehicle of that size. So we just need to ensure that we're taking the pedestrians away from the hazard here. And there's also many other things we can do. We can provide protection for the loading docks themselves. We've got plenty of different loading bay protection options. We've got like truck stops, and we've got dock buffers. We've got loads of different things. So if they want protection for the doorway itself, there's also the ramp that you can see. It doesn't look like there's any kind of fencing or anything down the side there. So to keep the vehicles manoeuvring out down this ramp safe, we could potentially put some barrier down here. And we can also, to the left of the ramp, it looks like there's some form of bin or skip, which indicates to me that pedestrians are walking out here and using this area. So maybe another walkway needs to be defined here as well. So they're the type of things we'd recommend in an area like this. So the next area here, so we've got a pedestrian route coming down from the mezzanine floor, and it's also obvious that the vehicles are manoeuvring around this structure, stacking pallets around the stairway. So we've got two of the steel columns holding the mezzanine floor up, which are quite vulnerable just by the stairs. And we've also got the issue of the pedestrians coming down the stairs straight into a vehicle route potentially. So we could kind of combine two protection systems in one here, and we could have a traffic and pedestrian barrier. Oh, right. A traffic and pedestrian barrier in an L shape coming from the bottom of the stairway across to the left in front of the two columns. So providing an L-shape barrier, potentially with a gate on as well. This just ensures that the pedestrians are kept away from the vehicle route, and the two vulnerable columns there are also protected too. Another thing we could do here is, because the boxes are stacked quite high, you could even protect the stairway itself and put a bit of topple barrier there. Obviously this is a critical structure. If one of these columns goes or the stairway goes, then it's not good for the people that are accessing this structure day in, day out. So there's a few different options we can apply here. It's just sometimes about looking at the environment. So although you can't see a vehicle in this picture, we know a vehicle manoeuvres here just because of the way the pallets are placed. Obviously we don't know what type of vehicle, so maybe the traffic and pedestrian segregation might be overkill. We might just need pedestrian segregation. You know, it might just be a hand pallet truck manoeuvring these, but we don't know till we get more details. So the next one is very typical. I've seen this a lot. We've got a work zone here. So we've got pedestrians who are working on the shipments, and then we've got a forklift truck coming in and taking the pallets away. Now this is a really, really complex area because vehicles usually need access, you know, a lot of access here. So a barrier would prohibit them accessing the pallets that they need to access, which reduces productivity, which is not what we want to do. So we'd need to gather more information from the client on site, but typically in this area we've provided two different solutions in the past. So we've created a type of pen, so with like a U-shaped pen, so that the forklift trucks have access from the front only, and the pedestrians are within, are protected on three sides with barrier. But obviously that only works if the vehicle needs access from the front only, which is not always the case. The other case is just strategically placing bollards around this area. It doesn't necessarily protect the pedestrians fully, but it just provides a warning sign for the driver just to take a bit more care in this area. But this is quite a complex one, but there's different stuff we can do, and there's no set rule. You know, if anybody does have anything like this and they want to discuss it with us or with George, then just send us pictures and we can look at a solution for you. That's what we do, and that's what we like to do. We need to ensure that we are providing the best possible safety protection for the people, that also ensures that productivity isn't affected as well. And then the last one here. So in this warehouse, they've already got painted walkways and they've already got a crossing identified. So here we'd probably recommend putting some barrier along the painted walkway, purely because there isn't a meter between the walkway and the vehicle route. And it's also really good to kind of gain more information on the vehicles operating, because if you see in the background, just to the top right hand side, there's a huge vehicle there. Now, sometimes we'll receive pictures and the client will tell us that it's a 2.5 ton truck operating at 6 kilometers an hour. Now, this type of this would generate quite a low impact, so we would be looking at a pedestrian barrier here. Sometimes they'll tell us this, but send us a picture and it will have a lot bigger vehicle in the background of the picture. Now, we just need to check, that what the operation of this vehicle is. And a lot of the time it turns out that the day-to-day activity is, the 2.5 ton vehicle, but they might have a bigger vehicle on site to maybe move machinery or clean machinery or do something that, and it's not as regularly used, maybe like once a week. So the health and safety guys might prefer to, you protect against the day-to-day activities instead of, worst case scenario that this vehicle once a week might potentially hit a pedestrian. It depends what the appetite for risk is. If you just want to protect against your day-to-day vehicles, then we can advise a correct product for that. But we also just need to be mindful of other vehicles that might be operating as well, and just gain as much information as we can. And any pictures that we get, we do question anything that we see, and we try and look at the bigger picture. So that's what we do here. And that's the last scenario, and I think Pavel's going to talk about some case studies now. So Pavel, I'll hand back to you.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, thanks Justine. So we've got 2 case studies we want to present to you. Obviously, through this one, if you have any questions, just ask, or you can ask at the end of the presentation. Anything you want to know, you just ask. So 2 case studies we would like to present in here. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. Here we go. Okay, so the first one, it's Nestle Purina in Poland. So this project, it's a new facility, and it's a project we've done this year, early this year. So Nestle is one of the biggest and largest food and beverage companies on our lovely planet. 2,000 brands, strong presence, 191 countries. ASAFE supplied already to actually more than 20 Nestle sites, and different projects, different sizes of the projects. So Nestle, the industry we've got, it's a food industry, pet food production plant, which actually this one is, and the situation we've got. So yes, it's a new facility, and the main task during this stage of the new build was to segregate pedestrian traffic flow. So the approach from Nestle was, okay, this is the most important thing for now. Then we can take care about the building, we can take care about the equipment, we can take care about everything else. We actually like this approach because, my thinking is people first. Yeah, you can you know, you can replace the machine, you can fix the building, you can fix everything, but if there is a bad accident with someone, and if it's a really bad situation, that's unfortunately not fixable. You can't replace people, I'm afraid. So they required a safety solutions in here. What we've done, and I'm going to show you on the other screen. Plus, obviously, we'll show you some pictures from the installation. What we've done is, after fully understanding of what's happening on site, talking to project managers, visiting the place quite a few times, we actually came up with the solutions, with the suggestions where and how we would propose the barriers, where we should stop people with the swing gates. So it's a combination of iFlex pedestrian barriers, which are great for food industry, and some traffic barriers where you've got a bigger risk of the forklift, you know, hitting equipment or people around. So hygiene, it's a priority, obviously, everywhere nowadays, because that's the world we live in now. However, you know, for food industry, that's absolutely crucial. So the product we proposed and we sold, it's exactly the solution which is going to work for them. So we've got hygiene seals, no ingress points, water resistant, hygienically wipe clean exterior. We haven't used the stainless steel base plates because of the products they use to clean. We're perfectly fine with normal ones. So that's one of the questions we always ask. If it's a food industry, what sort of chemicals you use actually to clean the floor? Because if we think that that's not going to be good for a powder coated material, then obviously we need to come up with the stainless steel base plates. So it's always a good question to ask, and it's always good to go through the specification really of the cleaning products being used on site. So no need for a cold storage in here or anything like this, because they don't have such a low temperatures like -30, -20. So this took us a while, and it was meters and meters in different places. On the next slide in here, you can see actually some of the installations. So from the left, obviously there's lots of pedestrian barriers with the foreguard. So Nestle told us they will go ahead with the option with the foreguard because they really care about the employees they've got, and they don't want to risk the situation where, okay, the forklift will actually stop on the barrier. However, you know, the forks will actually go through it. So that has been quoted as an option, but they said we like the option and we need to go ahead with it. Absolutely great. On the last two pictures, you can see some lower protection. So that's where we are covering conveyor belts, which is again very important for production. If that stops, then it's a whole chain of the other areas within the factory which is going to stop, or there will be a delay in the production. So that's the majority of the products we use. In here you can see a specification of the product. So basically what we've done, we asked them, okay, what is the situation? We actually went there to check the real life scenario. We ask about the forklift speeds, about angle of the impact, if it's going to be 90 degrees or 45 degrees. So all the important questions, including the weight of the forklifts. We ask all these questions to make sure we propose the right product, so it's a fit for purpose That's really important for us to make sure we offer the right thing for a situation, and to make sure, you know, the customer, which is Nestle and Hill, they fully understand that this is the right thing to do. So you can see in here on the top, you've got the pedestrian barrier, all the information about it. The great thing about A-safe barriers, and that's what lots of customers are asking. You can see on the specification of the product, you can see the maximum deflection. That's a common question I have from people, from our partners, from the end users we work with. Okay, this is a flexible solution, which is great, but we need more space. Yes, you need more space. And then there's a question from, okay, how much space do I need to make sure it will actually bend, so the deflection is right, and it's not, and there's no obstacles in there. So all this information we can always provide to you on every single project. George is fully trained on this. He knows exactly how it works. So if you ask him, he will tell you straight away. It's the same, on the bottom, even with the traffic barrier or with the foreguard. Exactly all the information in there. If you need more details, no problem at all. We've got even more, but that's the details you can see in here would be most likely sufficient for any projects you are dealing with. So that's the Nestle. Another one I want to present, it's the Amazon. So Amazon, well, everyone knows Amazon. So in Poland, we've got 10 sites of Amazon, which is absolutely mind-blowing, especially with the fact that there's no Amazon Poland. So it's only fulfillment centers, and there's no Amazon.pl. Yes, we have Amazon in UK, so .co.uk, .de. I think there is a French one, .fr. But in Poland, it's just the fulfillment centers. At the moment, 10. So everyone knows Amazon. It's the largest e-commerce company by revenue in the world, growing absolutely fast. Yes, we've got hard times now in terms of the market and everything. Amazon is smashing it because obviously, if you want to stay safe, you just buy it online. So, so they are actually doing quite well through during a difficult time we've got now. So industry, this is obviously distribution and logistics, and they've got different plants. Every plant is slightly different, but the solutions they use are common for all the plants. So the situation we've got in here on this case study, we've been approached by a startup manager to help them with the solution to protect EDFs. So EDFs, that's Amazon server. So basically everything is controlled at Amazon online. These servers are the heart actually of the operation. So they have in this side 20 servers which are responsible for anything from being connected to the whole system, to conveyors, to the security, to safety. Just everything is going through these. And standalone servers, they cost up to 20,000 euros each. Thinking about having 20 on site, that's quite a lot of money. So additional hazard we spotted when we were actually talking to them about protecting servers was the risk of damaging high bay conveyors and the second level storage. So that's something Amazon didn't really think of. They knew it. They need to be careful and and drive carefully, make sure the forklifts are actually folded down. But they didn't have anything planned for this. So we presented actually a solution for this as well, which they said, okay, this is great. We were not thinking about it, but this is very important. So solution. So we have done a full survey of the site. And that was one of the most difficult ones I've done in my life. Why? Because it's quite a big site. And then you've got every single server has got a number. to make it right from the drawing, you need to go from 1 to 1, and you can only guess it's not in the proper order. It's number 1 is on the left hand side, the other one is on the right, and I did probably, I don't know, I'm counting steps now on my app. I haven't done it at the time, but I swear it was probably 30,000-40,000 steps I did this day. I was absolutely knackered, but we managed to check every single one of the servers. So initially, Amazon said the U-shaped solution would be absolutely great if you can propose something to us. Okay, it should be the same standard, same size for everything. So we told them, actually, okay, let us check every single one, because we would like to make sure we fit. We make sure this will actually fit onto your location. So what excuse me. So what we've done is, obviously, we checked every single one, we measured, and Justine, she actually did a drawing showing them, okay, server number 1, that's the shape we propose. Not all of them were actually U-shape as they suggested. Some of them were totally in a different shape. So we designed all 20 of them to make sure they fit in the area. What we've done as well, we checked the area for risk of forklifts driving around. So in some of the places we used iFlex pedestrian barriers, but in some of the crucial places, like the ones next to the gates, because one of the servers, I don't know what was the reason for it, but it was placed literally next to the dock. So we used different solutions. A-safe alarm bars were installed, and since then, I think it was 12 alarm bars we installed initially for them. They quickly realized it's a great solution for Amazon. So at the moment, with the orders we've got pending, Amazon is going to be on 70 or 80 alarm bars already in different plants, because they like the solution. They like the fact that it's hassle-free. It doesn't have to have a separate connection for electricity or anything. It runs on the battery, and that's why they were happy with the solution provided. So in here you can see on the top, on the left, it's L shape. Yeah, there's an old barrier behind, and you can see it was a still construction plant. So this is actually L shape. Another one on top, it's a straight line, because that's something which was crucial in here, and it was the right solution. There's no point of putting a U shape. What they wanted to do with the U shape is to cover it. However, when we spoke with IT department, we discovered, okay, well, these servers needs to be opened. Yeah, and that's the facility manager wasn't thinking about it. He was like, okay, there is a server, we need to protect it. And yeah, and the IT department, because they are the owners of the servers, they said this needs to be all the time ready to be opened, because if there's anything happening in there, they cannot wait a minute or 2 minutes, 5 minutes. No, they need to go there, open it, and act straight away. So that's what you can see on the bottom. You can see one of them standing, in the corner, not protected yet. So that was a picture before, and yeah, alarm bars. So you can see quite a few alarm bars, and on top of it, it was a different project we did for them, Flexi Shield column protection. So that's what we offered to Amazon. And again, they started using it in one plant. If Amazon likes a certain solution, they share the ideas with other places. So up to date, Amazon is one of the biggest customers for A-Safe, and we serve Amazon in USA, in Europe, so France, Germany, Spain, Slovakia, Czech, Poland, and I'm quite sure it's only the start of Amazon expansion. Amazon in US, they've got around 350 fulfillment centers. in Europe. I'm not sure how many exactly, but probably close to 20. In Poland alone, it's 10. Slovakia 1, Czech 1. So I can only imagine it's the beginning. Yeah, I can guess by 10 years time we'll have in Europe another probably 20, 30, 50 Amazons. And which countries they're going to go ahead? Probably different countries. So they will definitely do something in Poland more, Romania, Turkey, which is more towards your direction. You never know. You might end up with the Amazon in your area one day. So yeah, so that's the products we offered. Again, you've got in here, as for every product we offer, we've got a data sheet, so you can see deflection, energy, everything in there. You can see even the one for alarm bar, so you can see it's at 102 decibels, which is quite loud. It's sufficient for, I would say, 99% of the places. As long as you don't mount it next to a really, really loud machine, then you are fine. Flashing lights are doing its job as well. The battery lasts for around 2 years. It's a standard battery, so it's not going to be a surprise after 2 years. Someone is going to tell you, oh, it's a special battery, which is going to cost you 100 euros, and actually you need a specialist to change it for another 100 euros. No. We'll tell you how to change it. It's a standard battery you can replace, and it's nothing special. So the maintenance of this product is close to nothing really, and it's obviously very light, so you don't have a risk of this falling onto something and damaging someone or something, which I've heard about. It happened in one of the plants I've dealt with. They had alarm bars, but the old school ones, the steel ones, really heavy, and and they had an accident on site. It was fortunately it was a near miss, so no one was injured. But imagine you are actually under the alarm bar, which is 2 meters, and it's made of steel, and it's probably 50 or 100 kilos. You've got quite a big chance of ending up in a hospital with really big problems after. So yeah, so that's the 2 case studies. If you are interested in any solutions we provided for a specific company or a specific industry, feel free to ask me, Justine. Feel free to talk to George. He's got all the information. So anything you're interested in, we can be more specific towards your needs. And you never know, if one of you will be running a great project, we would love to do a case study with your area, with your plant, and share it internationally. So that would be absolutely great. So okay, so that's so that's it for the case studies. Hope
we have a couple of good case studies here. With middle chemie is the latest one we have, and with the flour mill as well. So we have some good stuff. We can probably make it into a case study anyway and publish it. But
yeah, it would be great.
I mean, projects that we've done here, which has a variety of your products and addresses a variety of issues around the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
That was done in accordance as much as it could with PAS13.
So yeah, obviously, we at ASAFE we love sharing information. So anything from your area, anything from your plants, guys, let's share it. We love doing it, and I personally think it's the most beneficial thing, sharing information between plants, between people. That's how you can learn how to improve. So there's nothing better.
Guys, thank you very much for your time to put this all together and address it to our small audience over here. We hope it was.
Everyone is important, so we appreciate the chance of talking to you all. And yeah, is anyone has got any specific questions?
We'll be around for, I guess we can stay around for another 10-15 minutes, Paul, and people can leave and or stay or ask questions or whatever.
Yeah.
We do have also in our warehouse barriers installed, and you can test them here. I've actually run a video testing them in our facility here. So all that's available. You don't have to go and look at brochures. You know, we have them here. You can touch them, feel them. We can bring some stuff to you if it's of interest, so you can have a look at them. And yeah, all the other information is either on our website or on asafe.com. There's very good marketing material there with all the technical information, and we're here to assist anyone.
Yeah, and sorry. I know we gave you lots of information, so yes, you need some time to digest and think, oh, okay, that was quite a lot of ASAFE for 2 hours, and we really appreciate it. It's absolutely great. But if you have any questions, you know, you don't need to ask now. Just think about it. You know, whatever it's gonna be, just drop email to George, and you know he will help you. So yeah, that's what I really want to pass. I know it's a lot of ASAFE for 2 hours, especially for someone who's not doing ASAFE all the time like me and Justine. So.
Well, we covered also, you know, the PAS13, which is important. It applies, you know, outside of ASAFE. It's all about safety. So we've touched upon, you know, basics of safety and risk prevention. And naturally, yeah, we're promoting our product as well because we believe in it on the basis of that. So it's you know, its purpose in that way. Great product, and yeah, thanks a lot. If anyone has any questions, again, we're here for a little while. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
Not from me, no. Just thank you for listening and taking time out of your day.